Geneseo, the Maple Leafs. Head coach Larry Johnson, 20 years on the sidelines as head coach for the Maple Leafs. Man, he is, ingrained out there, and you know what to expect when you go out to a Geneseo practice. And I always appreciate it.
2 years ago, these Geneseo kids, they had to they were thrown in. They might not have been ready, but when you return a quarterback like AJ Weller, who I think has started 19 games and he's going into his senior year. Because I think he started most of his sophomore year and then 10 games last year. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe it wasn't all of his sophomore year, but that's a ton of experience. So this is that group. They've led up to this season. And you saw it kind of click with them last year. They got back to the playoffs, which is crazy to talk about getting back to the playoffs in Geneseo, because for so long that's what they did. They went to the playoffs, they were Geneseo. It's tougher now in the Western Big Six to get to the playoffs and do those kind of things. They got back there. They didn't win, but they got back there. That was big for them to have another game last year. And you could just see throughout the year, it's starting to click more. They went to Rock Island in a game that I remember because Rock Island needed that football game to win. And Geneseo went to Rock Island and took Rock Island's best shot and ended up winning that football game. And you could just see it kind of developing and confidence going. And what makes this group special is that Luke Johnson, Larry's son, is one of those 3-year starters now that started as a sophomore. And I'm not saying it's special because Luke's on the team, but anybody who's got kids, you have your kids, but you also have your kids' friends that kind of become your kids too. Well, that's what this is like for him. All the players talked about how this isn't just Coach Johnson. This is a guy that taught him baseball in second grade, I think one of them said. So, like, it's a tight-knit group. I think the talent's there.
AJ Weller, quarterback, defensive back, like you referenced, honorable mention all conference at the quarterback position, 3-year starter. He was also first team all conference punter. So, he does a little bit of everything for him. Jerron Neal at running back was a name that we had heard last year. He was an honorable mention all conference. You also have linebackers, Caleb Craterfield, Nathan Dunker at linebacker. You have Luke Johnson as a tight end, like you referenced, second team all conference. You also have Jackson Reed, so grandson of Bob Reed, the late great head coach of Geneseo. So I know a lot of programs have the names and the families that come through, but man, talk about in 1 year you have a Reed and a Johnson both out on the field for Geneseo. That's a lot of family history going out there, and that's a really cool story there. But Jake Rapps, Jackson Reed, a couple running backs and defensive backs. Caden Salisbury on the offensive line, Cade Van Opdorp on the offensive line. You also have Nolan Famali on the offensive line. Another 3-year starter, was an honorable mention all conference. So again, just going through this list, Nathan Dunker, I don't know if I already said him. I'm saying the same names over and over again here, but a lot of talent coming back, just a lot of players that are not going to be phased by the big time games and the atmosphere in the Western Big Six. I think you got a lot of teams or a lot of players here that are ready for that challenge in the Big Six, no matter who it is.
I totally agree. Larry Johnson got his head coaching start down in this neck of the woods. He started at Pittsfield.
I did not remember that. Wow.
Four seasons at Pittsfield, took him to the playoffs once in those 4 years. That was back when you had to get to 6 wins to get in the playoffs. And I think he got him to 5 wins twice in that stretch as well. So, dude, he knows what he's doing. We know that with their experience. And again, we've seen it time and time again in the Western Big Six. The teams with senior laden groups rise to the top. I don't know if Geneseo can win the league this year. There's a team we're going to talk about a little while later that I think is going to win the league or has the potential to win the league. But Geneseo is going to beat somebody that we all sit there and go, wow, that either gets them deeper into the playoffs or gets them a better seed, but they're going to upset somebody.